Welcome back. This time we're talking about a series of unfortunate events. Season 2, Episodes 7 and 8, The Vile Hospital. This is the episode that essentially breaks the pattern of the previous episodes and books, in which our heroes would get sent off to another guardian, Count Olaf would show up, no one would believe the kids, and bad things happened, and ultimately they had to move on to another guardian. At the end of the Vile Village, on the other hand, our children were blamed for murder of Count Olaf, although it was actually Jack Snicket. And they're now on the run. They are wanted criminals like Count Olaf is, except Count Olaf really isn't a wanted criminal anymore because everyone thinks he's actually dead. So this is, as I sort of alluded to in my review of the Vile Village, where the pattern was sort of getting a little stale. This is really where the series drops that whole pattern and goes in a different direction. And while the entire series is very linear, this is where it really becomes much more linear because we're not in that same pattern, and it doesn't have that repeating quality to it. And that's what happens here, where our heroes ultimately hitch a ride with some volunteers because their organization is VFD, but they're about singing to patients, and they ride with them to Heimlich Hospital. And it is here where our adventure is set. But like I said, the kids don't have a guardian. They do meet someone named Hal, who they befriend, but overall they're on their own in this episode. And it's also in this episode where the Baudelaire children are going to be challenged more than ever. Obviously they've been in peril and danger and all kinds of calamity throughout the previous episodes. But it is here where their morals are going to be tested, where they have to decide whether they have to do things that they would not otherwise do because it's necessary both for their own survival as well as finding out the greater mystery that surrounds them that seems to have greater consequences. So it comes down to, will we do these things that are really not good, but are we doing it for a greater good, and where does that line fall? So there's some heavier material here for our heroes as they have to decide, what are they going to do? And overall, I found this episode very successful, and honestly, one of the scarier episodes. They really use this rundown looking hospital to their advantage to just make some really unnerving set pieces. And really, Count Olaf is really almost more intimidating here than he's been in just about any other episode. Because he really this is really where the children are at their weakest. While most of their guardians have been ineffective at best, there's just this added level of peril when there is no one looking out for them at this point. So overall, again, I'm repeating myself as I've said in my previous reviews, very solid episode. Love the switch of moving away from the story patterns that we'd gotten previously into something new. It's a breath of fresh air. As always, we do get more emphasis with the adult characters than we did in the book, but while in the previous episodes there was a lot more focus on the VFD characters, here Esme really shines and kind of is a focal point, almost more so than Olaf in this episode, which gives her character a little bit more weight than she would have otherwise, and gives her just a little bit more background to her motivations on why she's joined Olaf. And they also sort of lampoon a little bit the admitted inconsistency to Olaf's overarching plan that her presence brings to his cadre of henchmen. So, yeah, yet again, another great episode. I'm going to turn it over to you now. If you've seen this episode, what did you think about it? As always, you can subscribe to my channel, check out some other TV and movie reviews, and until next time, be sure to remember under which letter you file the files.